How'd it go this week?
Good. I did some of the long leash. We didn't get a chance to go out to the park the one day we were. It was going to rain, so we didn't get a chance to go out and do that. But I have been at home in our driveway doing off leash.
Okay.
So I'll leave her at the end of the driveway, drop the leash, tell her to stay, walk to the end of the driveway, stays, tell her, leave her there for a while, and then say, come Callie, she'll come right to me.
Okay.
So I have been doing some of that, like when she's going to go on a car trip, like on a ride, I'll do that same exact thing. I'll come outside the house, leave her, walk to the car, open the door. She stays where she's at, which is not normal. As soon as she sees that door open, she wants to run in.
Sure.
She stays where she's at, and I'll call her, come right to me, and then inside the car.
Good.
So she's been really doing with the recall. She's been really doing really good with it.
Excellent.
Again, this is just in our house where we live in the suburbs, so there's not a lot of people walking around, so there's not a lot of distraction. But it made me a lot more comfortable with it.
Okay. So one thing, just as like a forewarning, is if you do recall from stay, what you might end up with is she's gonna start assuming you're gonna call her, and then when you step away, you're gonna turn around and Callie's already gonna be on her way to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, realistically speaking, it's better than nothing if that's all you have. Okay. But it's very different from Callie chasing a squirrel and you calling her. Okay. That would be a real life thing.
Right.
Is if you start to see the breaking command of the stay, what you can correct it. It's just kind of like you're creating a problem. Okay.
Right.
And when we do training, as we advance the dog more with more off leash stuff, we create problems. It's just part of the process. So it always comes down to the owner. Some owners, I'll tell them like, hey, I avoid this because it's going to create this problem. If you don't mind correcting it or spending more time correcting it, I don't care. If you don't have the time to correct it, then I suggest you don't do it. Okay? So if you keep practicing that and you see that happen, what you would do is you always have a leash on her to lead her back. Okay? So if I'm moving away and Callie starts to break position, I immediately start remoting. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to pick up the leash and direct her, or walk back. Don't say heel. Just pick up the leash, general area. And you're going to keep tapping. And what you'll find is as you bring her into the spot, she's going to sit down herself. I just drop the leash, walk away. I don't say stay.
She's still supposed to be in that state.
Correct. It's all in effect, right? I walk away. She breaks again. I start tapping, lead her back. And eventually what you should start to see is if you move away and she gets up and you tap, she's going to put her butt down without you even having to do anything. Okay?
I've been doing a lot of the where we were as we do our walks, I'll stop, tell her to stay, and I'll walk away from her. It's gotten to the point where I don't even have to say stay. If I walk with this foot, she stays.
Good.
Or if I just give her the wave command, she'll stay.
Sure.
And she knows that once I start walking here, it's to come. It's to go.
Perfect.
It's not all the time, but I've known she's starting to learn.
Yes. It's just about consistency.
Yeah. So as we go on our walk, I'm usually doing that maybe 3 or 4 times during our walk.
Gotcha.
Every time. So I think she's gotten really good at knowing what she's supposed to do and when she's supposed to stay. But I understand what you're saying. Eventually, it could be where she's predicting what's going to happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
And right there, if you're comfortable with your tools here, right, is you can incorporate food. I have no problem with food. I just don't rely on food to get me reliable obedience. Okay? So if you want to help Callie kind of clarify these things, like when you move forward with that left leg and like moving with the right leg and stuff, when she does it correctly, you simply just give a treat. When she doesn't do it correctly, you just correct if needed, and then only reward the ones where she does well, right? So she'll start to, it'll help differentiate. The reason why I don't use food is because you're not a trainer, that this is very simple by itself. You know, it takes a little bit of thinking and stuff, but it's relatively simple and it's effective, right? But if I see the dog's doing really well and the owner is a good handler and trainer themselves, like they're learning everything, I'll tell them it doesn't hurt. You can if you'd like, if you want to make it kind of progressive and faster, okay? The other thing that you can do to prevent Callie from picking up on the recall stuff is if she's in a stay and you walk away and you turn to face her, a lot of people will immediately go into a recall here. So it's like guaranteed, whenever I turn around, I'm gonna call you. So the dog picks up that pattern. So what I'll do is I'll turn, face, don't say anything, then I'll walk over here, then I'll walk over here, right?
Yeah.
And I do it a number of times, and then I'll pick a random timer, I'll do the recall when Callie comes. Remembering to, of course, do that step back. We do want to be mindful, because I did have one lady who insisted her dog was psychic, because we did this, they know the story, and she said, Jesse, I did what you said, walk around randomly, but the dog always knows when I'm gonna call him, okay? And I go, show me. So she does everything. But what was happening is when she was gonna call him, she would go like this and do this, okay? Instead of this to this to this.
Yeah.
You see that? It's very broken.
Yeah.
So she would dip her shoulder to call the dog, and I'm like, it's because you're not knowing that you're doing this signal, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as she fixed that, obviously her dog wasn't psychic.
Yeah.
So little things like that they will pick up on, and she's not doing anything bad. She's just trying to be a step ahead, and she's going, hey, I don't want to get remoted, so I see this little thing. I know it means to come. I'm gonna just do it. Okay. So that's another thing that you can do. And also, like, let's say you step away and you do a bunch of walking around and stops. I might come back and not do a recall. Right. So then she's assuming, she's not learning, like, okay, every time you step away, I know at some point you might call me.
Right.
Then you throw her off. You're like, I might come back, and we might go into a heel, or I might, keep you in a stay and walk off again.
Yeah.
Okay. So little things like that, and I always tell people, be creative, think outside the box. If there's something that you feel would kind of test her, your family, coming up and petting her, things like that, feel free to implement it, right? Because your life is going to be different than another person's life. What's going to happen with you is going to be very different than somebody else. That you're just conditioning her for what life would be like with you. Okay? Questions about that?
No.
So let's go ahead. We're going to do the second half of the recall today.
Okay.
We'll start off with a quick review of what you've been practicing, and then we'll work on the next part, okay?
All right.
And we'll work right here in this kind of like little lighted area.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Got it? Then you have me.
Hey.
And I don't know if I can set up. So just keep, if you see him calling, that's how it's do that. Kind of come. Good. We'll do a couple more. Too soon. Go ahead and grab Callie again. So wait for your dad to say Callie comes, then you'll let go. Press down, then push down. You got it. Doesn't that feel good?
No.
Good. Excellent. One more. Good. Hold, good job. All right, good hold. Yep. Keep holding.
Come.
Good. Back. Good. So I'm going to have you go ahead and drop the leash. Aiden, correct? Go ahead and step away. And I'm going to have you keep Callie there, okay? Don't say break yet. So we're going to add a couple of things here. So the come command is a package similar to the recall, okay? So if you call Callie, she comes to you. And then what I like is an auto sit, okay? Doesn't have to be specific. Where she's at is fine. So where she lands, I don't care.
Okay.
I just want her to be that close, right in that space. So if I call Callie, she's here, and I wait a few seconds, and I do this. What should Callie do?
Stay.
She should walk with you,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's a tricky one,
Yeah.
okay? So come means come to me, stay with me, okay? Like heel means walk with me, stay with me, right?
Okay, yeah.
So if I step away, Callie should move with me. Okay, so what I'm gonna have you do is go take 2 steps backwards. 1, 2. Yeah. See what she does. Wait. Good. Right. Now what you're gonna do is take 2 steps directly to your right, like that. 1, 2, and wait. Good. Okay, and I'm gonna have you take 1 big step backwards. Like that. Okay. That's come command. For me.
Okay.
I add an extra layer.
Okay.
Okay. The reason why I do this is to prevent her, like let's say she chases after a squirrel, right? Callie comes, she comes to you. If you just have that first layer, she's gonna be very tempted to go back to the distraction, right? So I do this to tell them, like, hey, when I call you, I might move and you really have to stick with me, okay? So I call this my sidestep exercise. But the other reason I do this is I think I mentioned before about when you're doing recall and if you tap too late, right? You tap when Callie's moving, it might confuse you to run away.
Right.
We can also force that issue here, okay? So if I step away from Callie and she delays and I tap her, you might find it pushes her out. So then I keep tapping to get her to move back in again to teach her no. Tap doesn't mean run away. Tap means always come back, okay? So when you move, she did pretty good. After you tapped on the first one, she was pretty quick. Think of her like your shadow, okay? Whenever you make a movement, Callie should be moving immediately thereafter, okay? If you move aside and she's staying put, and then you tap, 2 hours later, not 2 hours, 2 minutes, 2 seconds later, you're creating a 2-second delay, right? So the moment I move, if Callie's not moving immediately, I'm giving a tap to get her to come in. So she's thinking, as soon as you walk, I want to move with you. Okay? Questions so far?
No.
So when you do this, you do want to give her time to settle. So when you do your side step, Callie moves in, wait for the sitting, I don't care where, Get to sit. Then move back. Sit. Okay. And well, of course, we're not saying it. It's built into the command. Okay. Question. So now you're going to give her a release break. And we'll have Aiden go to grab her leash. So you're going to do the same thing that you were doing, but you're just adding an extra step once she's at your side. Okay. Is this thing in your way?
Callie, come.
Good. 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 That's okay. Good. That's okay. Good. Careful with your knees. There you go. And when you're ready, break. Break. Three more. Yep, pull, pull, pull. Yep, there she goes. Good girl.
Callie, come.
Good. Good, girl. That's fine. Good. Good. Good, two more. That's not red, that's like Cujo. Sit red in the... Fancy. Good hold. Good. She's thinking about it. Keep holding. Yep.
You could do it in a field like that. You kind of work.
Good.
Callie, come.
You could play it like in practice field, but like practice, like.
sitting and stepping on my feet. She doesn't want me to move.
Yeah. Like, is this close enough, Dad? There you go. Good girl. We'll do one more. I might just have to train like this from now on. Don't touch the dog. No frequencies?
Cali, come.
Good. Good. You had the tap there?
Yeah.
Very good. So go ahead and hold right there, okay?
Okay.
So, for me, I don't care if she does that either. As long as she puts her butt down or lays down, I'm fine with it, because it's a stationary position.
Gotcha.
Standing position is more likely to meander, okay? So, for a recall personally, I want the dog on top. Okay?
Yeah, and she is.
Yeah.
Give you that.
That means less likely to take off on you. Okay?
Gotcha.
So when you're very black and white, right, you're gonna err on the side of caution to avoid the remote, okay? But that's what keeps her safe in the long run.
Okay.
A drawback to this is gonna be she may be less likely to, when you say break, to wander,
Yeah.
right? That will balance itself out.
Okay.
Okay. So when you do this stuff, what I recommend is, like, let's say you have a field, right? You go to and you let her do her doggy thing, and you do a recall, do a couple of side steps, wait a little bit, and then you give her freedom. And then you give her a bit of time, because she might hover really close, but the longer you keep her loose, eventually she'll start to venture off. Okay? And then I let her venture off. I don't call her immediately, because then you're going to create that paranoia.
Okay.
Typically, dogs, when we do this training, if I give my dogs freedom, they tend to stay within a 30-foot radius, okay? Because that's the length of leash that you're practicing with. So if I walk with them off leash and they're free, they're peeing and pooping, sniffing and all that stuff, but as I'm moving, they're keeping within this 30-foot bubble. See that? So then if I needed them to be close, I would do a recall into a heel. Okay, so if I'm walking and let's say there's nobody, but then as I'm walking, I see people with their family, I wouldn't want my dog to go and venture off, right? So I know when I come close to them, I'm going to call my dogs in, get them under tight command, pass by the family, and then once we're clear, release them again, and then they're free to be roaming. Okay, so there's a sense to this, you know.
So even on break, you'll even allow them on break, but they're still following me.
Correct.
Okay.
Right? It's kind of like an invisible fence concept, but the reason why they hover, that they tend to hover the distance that the leash you practice with. So if you use a 20-foot leash, they tend to stay within 20 feet because they think every time I hit 20 feet, you call me. That then they kind of create this. The dogs are really good about depth perception, and that's what I've noticed throughout my years of training. Interesting enough, though, if you go into a fenced-in area like that and you give her freedom, they go past the 30 feet for whatever reason. Okay, I've had a lot of people experience like Jesse. I'm in an open field. My dog is like what you said, within that boundary. But as soon as I go into a dog park, they're out the boundary. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know what the answer is, but I know that I've had a lot of people have that same experience. Okay. Which is fine, because it's enclosed, you're not worried about if you're going to go anywhere, okay? So, now, go ahead and take a couple steps back. Good, right? So I did that on purpose. because I wanted to see, but she was still in the come command, right? So until you give the release of break, or you give a new command, that command is in effect. This is also very important for you to remember, because we tend to forget, right? You're having a conversation with somebody, next thing you know, Callie's wandering away. She's in under command, and she's learning, if Dad says something and I do it, and he gets distracted, I can take advantage and wander off, okay? It's a tiny detail, but it happens, okay? So go ahead and put her in the heel. Let's just walk forward. Heel. Good. Come a little forward. Good, good, good. And slow to stop. And tap for your sit. Very good, all right? So that's the second half of heel. Pretty easy, okay? Now what we want to do is combining things. So like, let's say you go to the park, you let her be free, you do a recall. A lot of times it's recall, wait a moment, and then break, and then back to being free again, right? Is I start blending the commands, okay? To help start teaching and clarifying between each individual command. So, a tricky one, we'll do this after I explain it, is doing the recall, doing a few side steps. Now she's really tuned into following you, right? Because you just did a bunch of movements. Stay. And then stepping away. Okay, so now you might throw her off. Because she's thinking, well, you moved 5 times and I followed you 5 times. That was the answer. So on the 6th time I go stay and I step off, she might still be stuck in that mindset that it gives you the opportunity to clarify, nope, stay is now the new command. Okay? The other thing you can go into is a heel. You know, you can do this from the side step isn't, you don't always do it. Okay? You do it sporadically to test the attention and just add in that extra layer, or to help her clarify between things, between stay with me when I'm moving and stay in position when I say so. Okay? Is that you can also, when you do a recall, you can either do side steps, you can do a stay, or you can do a heel, right? And then you move, come to a stop. You would never do side steps from a heel, because heel is specific, it's left side, right? When it's recall, I don't care where the dog lands. The last thing is, and you didn't do this, but just as heads up, when we do the side steps, never in a forward-like motion, even like this, okay? So if Callie is here, and I step off like this, why don't I want to do that?
Because it's confusing her with your foot, where you're going, like, so, like, if you're trying to do the off leash, if you step off with your left foot, it's telling her to heel.
Heel, right? Yeah. So if I move forward like this, even if I did this, or like this, right? The way my body is moving looks like heel.
Right.
So I don't know, is she staying with me because it's default, or because she's thinking heel?
Right.
So I always go backwards, strict to the side like this, or even angled out is fine, like this. Because she doesn't know how to move with those movements. Okay, so it's trickier, and I don't care where the dog lands, right? Now let's say you're going to do a stay from the recall position, but Callie is here. Instead of using your left hand, you would just simply use the right hand. So you're just using whatever's available to you. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll start off first with another recall. Have you do a couple of side steps. You'll wait a moment. Give the stay. If she's in a down position for now, I'm going to have you tap her into a sit. Okay, just to make it easy. And then give the stay, walk around, come back, and then you can either give the break, go into a heel, or reset and start a new recall command. Okay? Whenever you're ready. Would you, Kyle just sent a message on Instagram. Would you tell him, yeah, we'll bring one. Go ahead and hold, lightly pull up on your leash. Up, up. And relax. Good job.
Callie, come.
Good. Right. So tap, tap, and walk her back. Tap, 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 tap. Yep. Tap, tap, tap. Good. Tap, 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 tap. Good. That's what, yeah. So what we're gonna do here is go ahead and tap her back. Tap, tap, tap. Is switch to your short leash and go back to what we did that first day to make it easier. Perfect. Up. Yeah, so you have your leash shortened. Good. And try to walk around. Good. That's good right there. So here, earlier I mentioned as we teach more things, we create problems, right?
Yeah.
There's the problem.
Yeah.
Because we've taught so much of you want to move with me, right? Is now she's paranoid and opting to do that. So here, I let that go. Typically I would shorten the leash, but I wanted to see how she would do, right? So we got about 4 to 5 mistakes. Then I go, okay, she's too paranoid. We go back to step 1 for this now,
Yeah.
until we can start to clarify for her, and then we go back to walking away with the long leash, okay?
Okay.
So we're gonna try this a couple more times, just like the same exact sequence.
Okay.
But the next one, you'll immediately after you do the stay, switch to your short leash
Okay.
and go back to this, okay? Go for it.
Break. Break. Break.
Enrique, you don't have your e-collar technology collar, do you? So- Up, yep. Go ahead and lightly pull up for Callie. There you go. Good job.
Callie, come.
Good. Good. Good.
Switch to a long leash? Or
Yeah, you can switch to long. So you did your stay, right?
Yeah, just
So you
stay.
can go ahead and do your give the break, and then we'll reset and do one more.
Okay. Wait.
Cut yourself. Good, yep. Good, come on, yep. Up. Good job. Good.
Gotta come.
Good. Good. Right, there you go. Good. Up. So go ahead and walk her back. Tap, 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 tap. Good. Go ahead and do about a 4 to 5 foot radius.
Okay.
Good. Good girl. Back to her side. Go ahead and do you'll go into heel and then bring her right here. Good. So earlier, when I talked about correcting the sits and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned you'll get to a point where you'll tap, and she'll put the butt down without you having to not have to do anything, right?
Yeah.
So right there, as soon as that happened, I would have right away started moving towards her.
Okay.
So if she gets up, right, you tap her into the sit, and then I go, I'm assuming she's going to make a mistake again, but I like the fact that she corrected, that I start moving towards her, because then it removes her thought process of, I need to make my way to you again, right? So then it kind of clarifies for her that, yes, putting your butt down was the answer, right? Because she's trying to decipher what you're wanting through how'd you say, a feeling, a physical muscle contraction that really doesn't change, right? The way she's interpreting it is according to what you've said and what's going on. So it's a lot for the dog to kind of pluck out, right?
Sure.
They're more than able to, but I take little things like that where I'm like, oh yeah, and I'll make my way to clarify for her so I prevent the next mistake from happening, because we went from tap means come to my left side to tap means keep your butt down to tap means come to me and then to stay with me, right? So there's all these definitions for it. So, but that was really good. So that's already starting to show you that she's understanding or associating the concepts, okay? So when you do this, I would slowly break out that range. So you've been able to do greater distances, but because we've put in more of that kind of paranoia, I reset a little bit and then work my way back out again until eventually you're fine, okay? But all that looked really good.
Okay.
So now, we're going to go back to just the basic recall stuff in terms of progressing it, and we want to start moving past the leash, okay? So with the phases of off-leash training, we have on-leash, short leash, and then if I'm doing, for instance, a full off-leash program, it's short leash, right? And then we move into the long leash phase where we're doing all the same stuff, but with a longer leash. Then I go to leash dragging, then no leash enclosed area, to no leash unenclosed area. Okay, that's generally the process. Everybody progresses differently. You know, I get some clients that are very confident after 2 classes that they're already doing no leash, right? The only problem I have with it is that they've not worked through the mistakes of the dog.
Yeah.
Okay, like the dog misinterpreting what the click means and going off the opposite, right? So what we want to start going is to leash dragging. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a recall. You'll give Callie to Aiden. You're going to walk back. You're going to extend the full 30 feet of your leash. You're going to drop it. And then you're going to walk in about 10 to 15 feet into the leash. Okay? So you have 10 to 15 feet of leash here and then back here. You're going to call her, no leash in your hand, Callie, come. Okay? You're going to move back. For dogs, because they're very picture oriented, a lot of times when they don't see the leash in your hand, they get confused. Okay? So if I'm moving back and she keeps going towards Aiden, he will need to leave the picture and move away, but then I can step on the leash to limit how much she goes. Okay? I keep tapping, and in the moment you're gonna see her possibly go like this, and she's gonna think she's gonna hit the wall, and she's gonna turn and go, oh, what about Dad? And she's gonna go. I then start to move backwards again. Okay? So we give that leash behind us. So like if you're doing this in real life, and there's a distraction here, and I call her, in case she goes the wrong way, I still got 15 feet of leash here that I can step on. Okay? I suggest you step on it, not grab it. Go for it, right? Once you've stepped on it, if you need to grab it, you can, but at least you stopped her motion. But this way, if she goes the wrong way again, I have 15 feet of slack behind me that I have plenty of time to step on. Okay? Questions? Okay. So go ahead.
Once she's sitting, don't back away from her. You keep following.
Good. Good. Correct.
Come.
Yep, and back. 1, 2, 3, that's good. We'll do 2 more just like that. Girl. Yep. And are you still tapping?
No.
No? Okay. Yep, hold. What's your number?
Huh?
What's your number?
28.
Let's go down to like 18. So when you do tap her, if you need to, we'll see how she responds.
Gotta come.
Yep, and back. 1, 2, 3, good. Perfect. One more.
Break. Gotta come.
Good. Good. Go and hold right there. So I'm going to have you, go ahead and lift the leash on the ground, is go back to the side steps. Very good. And then we'll do break. We'll do one more.
Come.
Very good. Couple of side steps. Yep. Yep. Good. 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 Now with your leash still dragging, go ahead and put her in a heel. Heel. Good. Go ahead and try. We'll do a little short stay.
Stay.
Good. Good. Just thinking about it. So going to come back to her side. Good. And some praise. Very good. So you have a few pieces here. Okay. The side steps you just throw in. You know, like let's say if you have during the week you find something very distracting for her, I would do a recall from it.
Okay.
You know, and then ideally, if you let's say squirrels, you recall from the squirrels, and she's kind of still focused on it, doing the side steps there, because that's really what's going to tempt her.
Okay.
Okay, because she's got to split herself between the distraction and then you. You can start progressing towards dragging for the standard stuff. Okay.
Okay.
The stay, I just did it to see what would happen, but you can do the heel and the recall and the sidestep stuff, all sans leash. But I would, whenever you're gonna do the stays, I would go back to the leash and then work your way through to no leash.
Right.
Okay, because you're gonna be shifting through like different topics, and you're just kind of warming her up to everything. What you should start to see is, as you practice these things, you're not having to go to step one all the time. Like you might do step one from the beginning with the stay for a couple of days, and then you'll see like, oh wow, she's doing really good. Then the next day you'll start at step two instead, and then step three, and the next thing you know, the leash is on the ground, and you're able to stay like you were before, and going back to that. Okay, but again, as we teach more stuff, we're going to create more problems, so it's something out of the ordinary. Okay? Questions? So that's it. You have your homework for the week. I would really, if you can, focus on just finding real life distractions.
Oh, she just got a new brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's a big distraction for her. All she wants to do is play with him.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she's got a 4-month-old husky mix.
Oh, okay.
That's actually something I want to talk to you about, because we're thinking about doing puppy training
Okay.
for him.
Sure. You can use, if you don't need the Zoom classes for her, you can do those 2 Zoom classes for the puppy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because right now, it'd most likely be potty training. If he's not potty trained, yeah.
Yeah, we're having a real tough because he's complete. Like, when we got her, she was already potty trained. She was great at it. Now we got a 4-month-old puppy. And
Yeah, it's going to be different.
We're trying to do crate training with him, and it's just not working.
Yeah, so you can. I don't have no problem with you using Zoom sessions for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So and you can schedule them whenever you need. You don't have to wait a week or anything like that. So I would just get on the phone with Maria and be like, hey, we use a Zoom session, and then it's typically 2 for the potty and crate training. We'll cover it in the first class, and then the second Zoom session is typically like anything that you're still struggling with.
Okay.
And then after that, obedience-wise, for puppies under 6 months, it's real basic stuff.
Yeah.
That depending on how much control you're wanting with him, food-based, any training prior really doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like if you end up doing e-collar with him, which you can just you already know how to teach the dog technically, right? Is it's the same stuff. Is I train dogs that are like 5 years old with 0 training, and they still get the same level of control. Okay, so if you want to do food-based training with them, you can. It doesn't hurt, but not necessary to get this level of obedience in the future. Okay.
Yeah, with him, I think we're really considering. I don't know if you have it right now. If you're still doing the boarding training for him.
Yeah.
Because this was not my dog, but it was like this is my baby, so I'm taking care of him. Him and his brother saw this other dog and they really wanted it, and they promised they're going to do the training, but they really don't, know how to train. I've been trying to help them with it, but I don't want to take on the responsibility of training that dog for them. I want them to learn the responsibility.
Sure.
But I was thinking maybe doing boarding training with them, the 1 week boarding training. But I just don't know what it entails.
The 1 week for a pup, if you want to do it when he's under 6 months,
yeah,
we could do a prong collar because he's still a little too young for the e-collar. If you wanted to, he can do e-collar, but at minimum it'd be 2 weeks. Okay. So if it's just 1 week, then we do the prong.
Okay.
Or you could. I've trained puppies as young as 2 months on e-collar. It's perfectly doable.
Okay.
It's really the owner because they get uncomfortable because they're like the puppy's 2 months.
Yeah.
That's the problem that I have. That's why I say wait till they're 6 months because it's usually easier for people. But if your kids are fine with it, you can give them their own sessions. Like I don't care.
Okay.
The boarding train's an option. My whole thing is you get more bang for your buck if you just jump straight to either them doing the e-collar training and me teaching them, or at minimum doing the 2 week because then we just started off because we have plenty of time to work the puppy in that time frame.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'd end up with a 1 week boarding train prong collar, so on leash only. It wouldn't be off leash reliable.
Okay. I'm not concerned about the off leash with him. With him, really, my concern right now is the obedience, food, and the potty training.
Sure.
Those are my concerns.
Yeah. And the potty training is going to take time.
Yeah.
It's how do you say, routine and stuff like that. But yeah, just give us a buzz and then we'll figure something out.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Rick. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Take care.